Morning, everyone. Morning. So it's that wonderful, wonderful time of the year when I get to talk to you about some of those parts of the Bible that have to do with Christmas. And I should tell you, as I often do, that I'm not really suited to talking to Christians about Christmas because I'm not really a Christmas person. I know, right? I don't like Christmas music, I don't like Christmas food, I'm definitely against Christmas sweaters. I see you, and I absolutely hate eggnog, you get the idea. Basically, I don't like being happy. Happiness upsets me. And if I may be serious for a moment, I do actually have quite a melancholic side to my personality. My favourite songs are actually sad songs. My favourite poem is an awfully dark work by Keats, and that's just me. I find beauty in darkness, and whatever the misfortunes are of having a slightly forlorn outlook on life, and they're probably few, one of the upsides is that it helps me understand the parts of the Bible that have to do with the birth of Jesus. You see, to read the stories of Jesus' birth and to properly understand them, you have to first of all come to terms with the fact that life is unfair. Life, sometimes, for some people, can be dark. Life, sometimes, for some people, can be horribly depressing. I think it was Oscar Wilde who said it best. There are times in life when sadness seems the only truth. It's not the only truth, but sometimes it feels as though it is. And no matter how successfully you anesthetize yourself from that truth, with all of the considerable comforts and pleasures that we can afford, deep down you know that happiness hangs by a thread, that it doesn't take all that much from the bottom to completely drop out of life. And so I thought for fun we'd kick off our 2017 Christmas season at LifePoint by looking at some happy photos. Now I don't know this woman's name and I don't know everything about her story, but it is certainly a story of pain. Maybe her husband just left her. Maybe she's having awkward issues to deal with her children. Maybe she's at that point in life where a lot of her bad decisions have finally caught up with her. I don't know, but this I do know. No amount of gastronomic or material excess is going to take away this woman's pain. She sees the world right now through the dark lens of how she feels. Sadness is her only truth. Next photo. As you can see, this man is clearly in pain, and I think you can tell that his pain is the worst kind of pain. The pain of the head. There's something in his life or in the life of his family that's emotionally crippled him. So he too sees the world through the dark glasses of his current circumstances. No volume of eggnog or tinsel are going to solve the pain that he feels in his own head. Sadness is his only truth. One more. Look at this photo. So this was taken just a few weeks ago in Libya. And it was taken at a slave auction. How do you like that in 2017? When we have 65-inch televisions at Staples for $600. Migrants making their way, they think, to Europe, to a better life from Central and Western Africa, go typically through Libya. Some of them are currently ending up in slave auctions, sold to the highest bidder. I don't know everything that's going on in this fella's head right now, but I'm pretty sure holiday classics on the radio won't make him feel any better. Sadness is his only truth. And every single part of the Bible that talks about the birth of Jesus talks about it in a context where the only truth that is felt is a truth of sadness. So what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to wrench us away, just for 20 minutes, from our enforced happiness at this time of the year, And I'm going to teach us from a part of the Bible that I've never taught anyone before. I'm going to take you back to the Old Testament, to the puzzling and powerful words of the 80th Psalm. And as I teach you these words, I'd like you to think about the fact that the Christian festival of Advent that we're now in traditionally asks Christians to consider two important questions. Question number one: what is it you really want in life? Question number two: what is your capacity to wait for it? Question one: what is it you really want in life? Question two: what is your capacity to wait for it? Somewhere hidden in the subtext of every Christmas song you've ever sung, of every Christmas story you've ever read, are lingering these two questions. What do you want? Can you wait for it? We begin then with the words, "For the director of music to the tune of the Lilies of the Covenant" of Asaph, a psalm. So straight away we're cued into the fact that these words we're about to read are the lyrics to an ancient song. And we know historically that the tune Lilies of the Covenant is one of those dirges. It's one of those, for want of a better expression, dark country songs that really only make sense with a glass of scotch. It's a sad, sad song. And this sad song asks us to consider that God is the shepherd of Israel who leads Joseph like a flock. Now in the Bible, to speak about God using the terminology of shepherdhood is to almost always say something positive and uplifting. So for example, next slide. Here's one of the earliest songs in the Bible, the book of Exodus, chapter 15. And in this song, the theologians of Israel are grappling with what kind of God is. This is way, way back. And look at what they say. Here's our God. In your unfailing love, you lead the people. In your strength, you will guide them. So, for the writer of this morning's sad song to stand in the temple of Israel and sing of a God who is shepherd is to say something quite specific. It's to say, I'm singing this song of sadness to someone whom I believe has an unfailing love for me, to someone whom I believe will never ever let me down. Curious then, is it not, that the sad song begins with the word "here." The implicit accusation being that this God whom I believe is kind and who will never let me down isn't hearing. Notice the other subtle details too. You who sit enthroned between the cherubim shine forth. The only people who beg for God to shine a light are the people who feel very much in the dark. Next sentence when he says, awaken your might, come and save us. When you're kneeling by your bedside, screaming for God to wake up, what exactly are you saying? You're saying you're going through hell, and the God whom you always believed was kind is sleeping. You're saying, you know what? I believe stuff, and I have faith, but I can't feel it. I can't feel anything. All I feel is sadness. It is my only truth. Do you think it is possible to be a Christian? And I mean like a real deal, bona fide, genuine Christian, and yet be plagued with a sense that there is no God? And if there is, He is most certainly far from you. The answer to that difficult question, I would suggest, is absolutely. Of course. And I raise that issue because I think too easily in life we equate how we feel with how we actually are. So far in this sad song, I see nothing that troubles me. All I see is honesty. And in church, yeah, we want to celebrate and talk about hope and truth. Of course we do. But hope and truth and celebration do not and cannot avoid the realities of life. True hope and true joy and true celebration don't come from skirting around how life actually is and avoiding how it actually is, but rather in trusting that in these difficulties they are not all that there is, that there's something else going on as well. So we want to celebrate, and we'll get there, but not without talking about how the world really is for us. So here he is. He's standing at the center of the Jewish religious way of life. And he's saying, you know what, I am a person of faith. It's a faith I can't feel. The only thing I'm feeling is sadness, but I got stuff to say. And I don't care if it's pretty, I don't care if you like it, I don't care if it makes you feel awkward or my issues are embarrassing from you. There's stuff I gotta say. God, are you deaf? I'm in the dark, will you shine a light here? I'm dying, and I don't feel you care. Is that okay? Can I be that honest? Next sentence. Restore us, O God. Make your face shine on us, that we may be saved. Now, a little technical note, in the overall lyrics of the song, this sentence constitutes the chorus. And that's huge information because the chorus defines the song. And so what he's saying here is that as you sing this song of sadness, as you use these words to educate yourself in the business of depression, the main thing that you should remember is that where you are today is not where you intend to be tomorrow. And that matters. Because when sadness seems your only truth, it's too easy to tell yourself that this, where I am, is it. This way I feel is the way I will always feel. It'll never get fixed, it'll never get better, it'll never work, I'll never get my break. And so to talk in the midst of this ugly stuff about God restoring you, about God making his face to shine upon you, is to deliberately remind yourself that, you know what, today the road is tough. But just around the corner it could be a whole new day. And that's so true in life, and you forget it when you're down. You never know what's just around the corner for you. One of the things I quite like about my job is that I get to see how life changes people over the course of a year and a decade and so on. And you know, I think back about where some of you were a year ago. And if you gave up a year ago, you'd never have gotten to see what was just around the corner for you. And it's so much better, is it not? And so often the key to life, particularly when it turns south, is just to keep going. And to believe that where you are today is not necessarily where you're going to be tomorrow. And so I love the persistence of this line in the song. Restore us, O God. I don't feel my faith. I don't feel it's getting better. But in an act of defiance, I'm going to say, I believe it will. Make it better. Make it better. Make it better. Make it better. To be a Christian is to be a person of patience. It is to live constantly between the way life is and the way you would wish it to be, and to never be defeated by the tension between the two. So Advent is traditionally the beginning of the Christian New Year, and it's supposed to be a time of sad longing. It's meant to be a time when we look back at what was and look forward to what might be. Then, having looked ahead to what he hopes is around the corner, he drags himself back to the reality of what he's dealing with at the moment. How long, Lord God Almighty, will your anger smolder against the prayers of your people? Oh, who let this line be in the Bible? Why didn't they edit it out? I hope you don't mind me saying this, and if you're sitting in the front row, you might be in the lightning strike me zone. But I think it's easy to read this sentence and get really annoyed at God. And I say that because when you read the Bible, you get the distinct impression that God likes it when we wait for him. In fact, the vocabulary of waiting for God is used very positively in the Bible and in the church. Wait for God, wait after God. What does the Bible say? Those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. You read that phrase in the Bible all the time. Just wait for God and life will get better. Just wait for God, just wait for God. And when you come to church, those phrases are often repeated in a very pious and unquestioned way. Just wait for God. It's a good thing to do. But what they don't tell you is that God is far better at waiting than you are. And he seems to rather enjoy outwaiting you. What they should say is that, by all means, go ahead and wait for God. Just be aware that all you're likely to find in your waiting is the cruelty of heaven's silence. All you'll find in the torment of your cancer and in the isolation of your loneliness and in the prison of your sadness is the indifference of the God to whom you pray. Let's be honest about this. God was there for others, he wasn't there for you. And yet still you are encouraged to wait for him. That's what this sentence is saying. And it's saying it in a place of worship. It's saying it in a place of faith, from a place of faith. God, you're not working for me. What's up? I think one of the myths of our modern culture is that we're free to live any life that we want, and that the trick to success is simply to make right choices. Just make right choices and life will be better. Right? It's 2008, buy Bitcoin. There's a choice you should have made, right? And that's it, just make right choices and it'll all work out. And okay, I get it, I really do. But there's a lot of big things in life that you didn't get a choice about. You didn't get a choice about the chemistry of your brain. You didn't get a choice about the cancer that you got. You didn't get a choice about the economy in your particular industry that's so successfully messing up your finances. Much of life seems to be a matter of good luck and bad luck. And so the real trick, I think, is to make good choices in the areas of life that are truly yours to choose. And so the lesson I get from this ancient song of sadness is that this writer may have no choice whatsoever about so many things that are messing up his life so effectively. He's got no choice about the fact he's depressed, but he has every choice about whether or not he accepts that depression as final. And it seems he does not. And in his non-acceptance of sadness, he wants the right thing always, regardless of how elusive the right thing is. And so I love the defiance of this grim, bitter, and yet hopeful song. He's saying, today I'm in this place, and it's awful, but I need everyone to know, especially me, that it's not a place I intend to stay a day longer than I have to. I had almost no choice about being in this mess, whatever it is. But I do still have a choice, and always will, about what I want in life. And what I want is the right thing. I want God. And so I'm seeing this sadness in a place of faith. I want God. And I say that because what I sometimes want is a veal parmesan sandwich. No, seriously. When I get low, the fridge calls me. They don't call it comfort food for nothing, do they? Right? There's something in us, isn't there, that's temporarily filled by comfort, fill in the blank. Food, shopping, sex, drugs, whatever. Comfort stuff. And so this writer is saying in a place of faith, yeah, you know what, I've tried all that and it's okay, but long term it doesn't work. So I want something deeper. I want to feel that God actually cares about this hole that I'm in, and I want to hope that He can get me out of it. And notice again, please, that his insistence on having hope and in wanting the right thing is completely at odds with his current state of mind. And so he says, "You've fed them the bread of tears. You've made them drink tears by the bowlful. You've made us an object of derision to our neighbours." Our friends are laughing at us because they see what we're going through. Our enemies mock us. You know, listen. Some of us get up in the morning and we wonder about what we're going to wear. Those are good days. Others of us get up in the morning and we wonder how the hell we're going to get through the day. And what about us when life is like that? Are we excluded from fundamental Christian sentiment? Do the big, powerful themes of the Bible no longer apply to us? Like hope, and joy, and salvation, and peace, and the promise of a better day? Is that somehow no longer relevant for us because sadness is our only truth? I mentioned that because I love the fact that the writers of the Bible, even the writers of ancient Christian, or of ancient worship songs, I should say, never once feel the need to sugarcoat reality, however real it was. So look at this. The sentiment, by the way, in this song is part of what the Pope is currently struggling with. Did you see that story in the news this week? The Pope is changing the words to the Lord's Prayer because there's a part of it's a little dark. And I get that struggle. So look at this sentiment. You want to talk about God? Let's talk about God. God did something that made me cry bucket loads of tears. There you go. That's what I got for my prayers and my morality and my decency. Tears. Thanks. And while my life turned south, everyone laughed. Good. Next sentence. Having dug deep in the darkness, he comes back to the chorus. Restore us, O Lord Almighty. Make your face shine upon us that we may be saved. That phrase in the Bible, may the Lord shine his face upon you, it's an ancient way of asking for God's favour. It's an ancient way of saying, you know what, God, sometimes in life the wheels get jammed up. Sometimes in business the wheels get jammed up. Sometimes in relationships the wheels get jammed up and the gears turn and nothing seems to move for me. Nothing seems to work for me. To ask for God's favour, to make his face to shine upon you, is an ancient way of saying, God, will you grease these wheels? Like just for once, will you make this turn again? Will you make it work again? Grease my wheels, will you? It's kind of a faith way of saying, so much in life is luck. God, will you give me some? Then we get back to the darkness. You transplanted a vine from Egypt. He's talking about better days here. You drove out the nations and planted it. You cleared the ground for it. It took root and filled the land. The mountains were covered with its shade, the cedars with its branches. Its branches reached as far as the sea. Its shoots as far as the river. You know one of the worst things about being sad? It's that you can remember when you weren't. One of the worst things about Christmas is that you can remember when Christmas was better. One of the worst things about your home is that you can remember that it used to be happier. You know, it's okay to be young and optimistic, and you can think things will get better, but the older you get, you can remember when things were better. And now they're not. So get the agony of this sentence then. He's looking deep in the past, and he's saying, all I want now is things to be like they used to be. Because things used to be good. Things used to work. I hate that word, don't you? Used to. I used to. I used to. I used to. I used to have my health. I used to have a happy relationship. I used to have friends. I used to have things to do. I used to be happier. I used to have a good job that paid good money. I used to feel that my life had some purpose. But now all I can do is remember with pain what I used to have and be. Kierkegaard, I think, said it best when he said that our greatness and our pain as humans is that we can transcend how we feel and know ourselves. The true torture of our humanity is that you can know you're in pain and have the intelligence to know why. Next sentence, deeper in the hole he goes. Why have you broken down its walls so that all who pass pick its grapes? Boars from the forest ravage it. Insects from the fields feed on it. Return to us, God Almighty, written as an imperative. Look down from heaven and see. Watch over this vine, the root your hand has planted. Your vine is cut down, it is burned with fire. Your people rebuke. At your rebuke, your people perish. This guy is just lashing out at God now. And I like that. Because it's honest. Honesty never hurt anyone. It's healthy to get it out there. You know, none of us lives perfect lives. And therefore, none of us should feel embarrassed about the fact that life stops working as well as it once did, that we get sad, that we get blue, that we have issues to deal with, that we feel depressed. I think every now and again we should feel free to stand up and say, you know what, I'm sorry, but this is who I am. Every now and again, for a variety of reasons, some of which are known to me, some of which are unknown to me, I get down in the dumps. And so if there's wisdom to be had from this part of the Bible that will help me think through the sadnesses of life, I'm all ears. And you know what? Sometimes in life, it's just naming it is all it takes. It's just having the courage to sit up, look at yourself in the mirror and say, here is what's wrong. This is its name. That's enough. Just recently, the church finished a grief share program for people in the community who've lost someone. And I was talking this morning about this to Carissa, who led it, and she was telling me that it wasn't just the content that was powerful. What was powerful was the shared experience of pain. There's something profound about having 15 people in a room who can say, this is how I feel. This is what I lost. Me too. Me too. Me too. So powerful. Just naming it is enough. Next sentence. Last words. The words the writer wants the singers of his song to remember as they leave the song of sadness. Can we say it together? Restore us, Lord God Almighty. Make your face shine on us, that we may be saved. I think there's times in life when it matters to kiss the icon, even though you no longer believe the icon has power. Because not to do so is to resign yourself to a worldview that is fatalistic. The wisdom of this song says that I hope, because not to hope is to admit something that I will never admit till they put me in the ground. And that is that hope is lost. And so I say loud and proud, regardless of how I actually feel, that I hope. I stick a defiant finger at the circumstances of my life, and I say that in spite of it all, I hope. Life can kick me hard, but it can't take that from me. I hope. I hope. I hope. So you can allow your sadness to make you look downward, or you can allow hope to make you look onward and upward. Discouragement tells you that you dare not think of a future. Hope tells you that you have one, and you should hold on to it. So Christmas, traditionally for Christians at the beginning of Advent, is to look at life as it was and as you hope it will be, and to ask yourself two painful questions. What do you want? Can you wait for it? What do you want? Can you wait? We ask you to hear us. We believe that you're real. We believe that you care. And we believe that you know. And so we ask you to hear us. We ask you to shine a light in our situation and to give us favor, to grease the wheels of our life again, to give us traction towards a better tomorrow, grease the wheels of our relationships, grease the wheels of our businesses, of our careers, and of life itself. We ask this, holding firmly to the hope that we have through Christ our Lord. Amen.